McCarthy's Blood Meridian, or The Evening Redness in the West, is a monumental work of fiction that towers over the American literary landscape of the late 20th century, and describes, on one level at least, the imperialist conquest of the West. Few novelists have proven willing or able to construct such a crushing portrayal of human brutality. Following the historical Glanton Gang as they tear across Mexico and the American Southwest in the 1850s, the novel, as one scholar put it, presents the reader with a vision of evil allowed to run rampant and unchecked in a land where the rocks would cook the flesh from your hands, and where other than rock, nothing was. This evil does not merely take the form of the gang's savage and unrelenting violence. Its many instances of depredation or mindless slaughter, which was faithful to the events of the period, but becomes incarnate as a man, who, as he later and triumphantly proclaims at the end of the novel, will never die. Described by scholar Harold Bloom as the most monstrous apparition in all of American literature, Judge Holden is capable of anything, both in terms of the depravity of his conduct as well as his aptitude as a fighter, strategist, engineer, advocate, philosopher, dancer, and musician. He is extremely strong and intelligent, and for the protagonist of the novel, and indeed the countless others he encounters across the Texas-Mexico borderlands, he is death itself. Blood Meridian begins as the story of the kid, a nameless adolescent who in time becomes a member of the Glanton Gang, and later an enemy of its leadership. The bulk of the novel describes his activities as one of them, and in this capacity, he is anything but innocent in the killing of Indians, wanderers, and Mexican villages. He, like Glanton, like the judge, is vicious and brutal. And while we might detect the intimations of what we might describe as goodness, he is nonetheless brutish and violent. Our recognition, however, that the kid is somehow more than he is, that he deserves better than his seemingly inevitable fate, is a crucial point of tension in the novel. The kid's admission to the Glanton Gang, and by extension his active involvement in the acts of barbarism, is not the result of a simple twist of fate, nor a poor choice on his behalf. Indeed, his participation in many crimes can neither be reduced to his socioeconomic circumstances, nor his family history. The kid, as the novel makes clear from the outset, was disposed to such violence, and he, in other words, was made part of this gang because of his nature itself. In this sense, the kid was doomed from the outset, and his fate at the hands of the judge inevitable by his very being. The way in which we are positioned to sympathize with his position, and his human fate by the hope that he might live, that his moral awakening might somehow allow him to transcend the constraints of his existence itself, concerns the possibility of grace, of his salvation from his inherent nature, of what, as the novel makes clear, is denied to the most innocent, in what comes to be, or appears as, a radically anti-metaphysical universe, in which life only begets suffering and death. Blood Meridian, in this sense, for all its violence and barbarism, is invested in a world that could be otherwise, where the goodness of human life may be redeemed and our nature reformed, where life, in other words, may lead to more life. Far from a vision of hopelessness, McCarthy's novel thus represents a search for a new way of reconciling the darkness of our origins, that, if nothing else, is meaningful as an attempt to describe our underlying ethical drive to be more than what we are.